My name is Alice Bay Phillips, and I was 8 years old when I passed away. My mother and father always thought of me as their little angel. I guess that's why I have an angel on top of my headstone. She reminds me of my doll I used to play with her frilly dress and long clothes. It's sad because her head fell off as time went on, but she was beautiful when she was first made from my tiny brain.
My name is Faye Phillips. I'm Alice's father. I met Catherine, Alice's mother, in the early 1900s, and by 1903 we were married. We eagerly awaited children, expecting to have plenty, like my own folks did. One boy every 2 years for a total of 7 brothers. The years passed though, and we didn't have any children. My wife had begun to resign herself to being the fun aunt with special gifts and treats for her nieces and nephews. Finally, though, in 1911, Catherine was pregnant, and on April 14th, 1912, Alice was born. We were overjoyed, and for a while, life was perfect for our small little family on the banks of the Fox River. My wife had always wanted more children, to play with my own brother's kids. But alas, it was only Alice, which we loved more than anything in the world. We'd always hoped she would grow, marry, and have all the children we had so desired. We were happy in the early years. Alice enjoyed spending time with her cousins. They certainly had a knack for finding trouble. We expected her to grow old and have all the grandchildren we could ever hope for. Alas, God had other plans, and she was taken from us just before her 8th birthday. A sudden illness befell her one afternoon as she was visiting her aunt's house. It was so sudden, my wife and I could hardly catch our breath. We were never the same. My wife had begged me to give her someplace pretty, to rest eternally. So we spent a small fortune on the angel headstone you see before you today. My wife would be beside herself to see the head had fallen off, but Alice doesn't seem to mind too much.
I know my parents wanted me to feel like my final resting place was beautiful and sweet, just like they had tried to make their bedroom back home feel the same. I was an only child, and my parents loved me very much. My father loved me so much, he couldn't bear to be parted. And so when he died, he was buried next to me, even though he doesn't have kids. Mama was buried in her family plot because there wasn't room near us, and she wanted her father to watch over me and protect me, just like he did when I was alive. Daddy gets real sad when he talks about my son passing, but I prefer to tell stories about when I was alive and happy. Daddy has lots of brothers, 6 of them, so I have lots of cousins to play around with. I always wanted a little brother or sister, but with all my cousins, I guess I didn't mind too much. We were always getting into something back then, sneaking around the barn or shed, playing with things we ought not to mess with. But of course, Mommy and Daddy wanted me to grow up to be a respectable young lady that could prepare for her own family. I just wanted to play with my daughter.
It wasn't uncommon to lose children back in those times. Pneumonia, influenza, and enteritis were the most common causes of death for kids back then. But those most at risk for those illnesses were below the age of 5, so we were taken by surprise when Alice fell ill. We held private services, a day I can hardly remember from the pain. Returning to our quiet, dark home after her passing was unbearable. Both of us stricken with grief.
Of course, I felt sad to leave Mommy and Daddy, all my aunts and uncles and cousins. One day, I was just a 7-year-old girl playing and dancing around, excited for the 4th of July and my 8th birthday. And then it was over. Alice Bay Phillips was here one day and then gone the next.
My wife and I tried to carry on, but it was impossible to be with family. The cousins that had once brought us so much joy now constant reminders of our loss. Sorry. They say time heals all wounds, but anyone who says that has never lost a child. I passed away in 1935, and I'm buried next to my sweet girl to watch over her and give her mother peace of mind. Our story may be sad, but we hope you remember it, so the short life of my sweet angel is not forgotten. She was cherished and loved, and she meant the world to both her mother and I. Thank you.